Taking a look at the energy markets today, I want to focus on WTI crude. WTI crude, a big mover, volatile session. Down on the day, we saw it down significantly intraday with a low of 50.52, settling around the 51.45 level. Saw a high of 53.70 through the intraday session. So again, some downward pressure, continued selling pressure, and I think a couple factors here today were news items throughout the day, overnight into today, I should say. When we look at central bank activity, some activity there overnight, pushing crude lower, I believe, because of the global slowing story. We saw Bank of New Zealand cut rates more than expected. Bank of Thailand cutting rates surprisingly, and Bank of India cutting rates more than expected, and all that led into the global slowing storyline, also playing into demand for commodities and putting downward pressure on the crude space. And then couple that with the EIA release this morning, build relative to a draw expected, and with that we saw further selling pressure, and that's when we saw WTI on the lows of 50.52. So a little bit of a bounce late in the day, primarily due to the equity markets reestablishing their footing, fighting off the selling pressure. And I think we saw some of that correlation come back in line, where we saw WTI in the commodity space bounce back to some degree, given the fact we saw the equity markets bouncing back. Looking at the trading activity, big volumes today in the futures and the options. Certainly when you look at the futures activity, much more substantial over the 20-day moving average right now. We're seeing a big activity on these selling squalls that WTI is realizing. And also on the options market, looking at that September 50 put line, we saw 31,000 contracts trade today on that September 31 put line. And all around that $50 strike, we're seeing again some very significant options activity as well. So we're seeing the market repricing here for some of the dynamics, for some of the volatility, and a very active trading session here at the CME on those futures and options today.